the sea understand we sail for blood, not glory or fame. Rum and revenge, that's our name. Chains for the rich, gold for the poor. We trade our sins on a crimson shore. Every wave's got a ghost we knew, and every oath we swore was true. Yeah, cannonball heart, boom through the dark. Tattooed stars like maps on a bark. Ain't no heaven for a man like me. Just a ship, a gun, and a burning sea. Raise them up for the lost and the damned. Beat that drum. Let the sea understand we sail for blood, not glory or fame. Rum and revenge, that's our name. That's our name. Raise them up high. Oh. 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 Raise them up high. Wind howls low, black sails bend. We toast the night to rum and revenge. Oh. To rum and revenge. Oh. Oh.
Welcome in. Welcome back, my glorious Stater Nation. It's me, of course, your friendly neighborhood potato, peeking out from beneath the soil, watching the world grow, and occasionally trip over its own shoelaces. And you know us potatoes, we have lots and lots of eyes, and we like watching all the interesting things that humans do up top. From culture to politics, from history to the headlines, from common sense to complete nonsense, breaking it down as only a potato can. Today we're going to be digging in, brushing off the dirt, and taking a good, honest look at what's really going on. So grab a seat, grab a snack, preferably a potato, and let's see what the world looks like today through a potato's eye. And as always, I'd like to start my streams off with my inspirational quotes when I remember them. Even the simplest potato can change the course of a meal or a life. That's what I'm trying to do here. And those who are unaware they are walking in darkness will never seek the light. Bruce Lee, of course. And that's what I'm also trying to do here is bring the light to the people who are not seeing said light yet. All right, welcome in, guys. So we've got a re-examination show. I don't know if you're still in the chat, but thank you very much for the engagement while you had the time. If you're in the chat and you don't know, Re-Examination Show has his own show as well, obviously, this show. He does a show also with Leia Bobea, and Leia Bobea is going to be doing a debate basically right after my stream. I believe it's an hour after I typically get done streaming. So watch for that if you would. Homestead Wench, thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate you as always. It's always good to see you. And Mr. B, thank you very much for joining me. I know that you've been busy, so thank you very much for the engagement while you can. And Beatrix, as always, thank you so much for being here. You're always right on time and always part of my streams, and I can't tell you how much that means to me. All right, so getting into my funny stuff for the day before we start our serious talk. We've got a couple of videos here. Let me bring it over. Been messing with my settings, so hopefully nothing's too bad here. All right, so this dogs. I love dogs. This is so funny.
Japan found that dogs, particularly the lady dogs, are judgmental of their owners when we make a mistake or act weird.
An
oopsie.
Nope, you lost your chance. If looks could kill, I don't trust you. Judging, serious judging. I would too, not gonna lie. This is kind of funny. If you haven't seen the Hydraulic Press channel on Facebook, this guy does some weird presses.
Oh my god, oh, whoa.
This is hilarious. If you ever had a Nokia phone, those things were freaking indestructible for sure. Hey, Vosh Schmidt, good to see you. Stream time. Hope you're having a good day, good Sunday, everybody. Good to see you, Vosh. Appreciate the engagement. And yeah, if anybody in the chat has had one of the Nokia bricks, I remember them, and they were in just like you could drop them from 20 stories up and nothing would hurt them. This is obviously a facetious play here, but I found that funny. Anyway, all right, let's see. What else do I got? This is wild. I'm not sure what was. I think it was during a chase. This is you boomer. What are you doing? Jeez. Maybe one of these days I'll get it. Here we go. Dude goes airborne over
like a stunt from an action movie, but this really happened.
Yeah, like the commentator saying it seems like a stunt from an action movie. Dude goes over this car. I'm really curious if this car even saw that flying vehicle overhead of them. Really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Friggin', I hope they're all right. I mean, I guess if they're running from the law, you know, you get what you get. And then this one is beyond comical. I'm not sure what this cat was doing, but it was definitely trying real hard to do it. Hey, Leia Bobea, good to see you. Good to see you. And again, if anybody in the chat doesn't know, Leia Bobea has her own show, and she will be live with a debate about an hour after I typically get done. Hopefully, I'll be ending on time. This, I don't usually, but we'll see. Re-examination show. Welcome back. Who hasn't done this? Yeah, right. Fair enough. You know, back in my day. And re-examination show, again, if you're new in the chat, he has his own show as well that they Leia Bobea and him do a show together as well. Not sure exactly how often that happens, but check them out. Definitely check them out. Help them out. He's on that. He's on it too. He goes up back up those stairs as quick as shit too. Cracks me up every time. It hits a wire, so you can't really see it unless you're really paying attention. But it hits a wire that's strung out for like a clothesline or something like that, and so it bounces and then hits the ground a couple times there. That's funny. Cracks me up. Anyway, all right. So let's see. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we all need to help each other out, build our networks as we can. All right. So let's see. What else do I have? I don't think I have anything really funny. So we'll get into some of the more serious topics here. Hey, Hardwire, good to see you. Another person that has his own show. Let's see, it's Sunday. Yeah, so he'll be going live too, about the same time as Leia Bobea has her debate. So if he's live, you can choose and hop back and forth and give Easy. Speak Easy will be doing the hosting of that debate. So give him some love too. Obviously, make sure we give him some likes and whatnot. All right, so let's see. So I came across this story along with a story about a shooting in the White House area grounds, something like that. I won't necessarily talk about that because I don't know much about that one. But this one here, I did a little bit of reading up on before my stream. So I wanted to talk about this a little bit. If you're in California, you probably know about it already. It's happening in Orange County. So obviously, if you're around that area, you've probably heard of it. And if you haven't heard of it, they've been dropping the ball. This is pretty serious. Toxic leak, chemical leak at a plastic facility. So we'll let him talk about it here.
To another breaking story at the moment, a developing story at least, and it is in Southern California we can take you to. It's tens of thousands of people have been told to leave their homes after a chemical leak at an aerospace facility.
Yeah, up to 50,000 people. I've seen anywhere from 40,000 to 50,000 people have been told to leave their homes for this. And I've also been seeing a lot of people, like there was a couple that were saying that they had just got out of surgery. It was the female, and she was saying that she had just got out of surgery. Her significant other had just got out of surgery, so they weren't able to go anywhere. So hopefully they get this under control, but it's basically imminent. They say it's an imminent failure of this tank. So hopefully it just leaks, but even that, we'll get into it. But yeah, Hardwire, Leia has a debate on the Speakeasy channel. She has her own channel, so we'll be viewing it on that channel. Anybody in my chat will, I highly encourage to view it on Leia's channel, but give Speakeasy some love at least. But yeah, she'll be debating on the fetus deletuses with a black woman that Marte had actually done a debate with. That was an interesting debate. But anyway, we won't get into that because I've got a lot to cover. But here we go.
Facility. Now, a tank containing a toxic substance used in plastics production has been leaking since Thursday at the site in Orange County, just southeast of Los Angeles. Now, the leak is happening in the center of one of the most densely populated parts of California, just 61 kilometers from downtown LA. Authorities say there's a risk of the chemical reaching the region's water supply. Police officers have been going door to door to urge residents to leave. Now, John Hendren is live for us from an evacuation center in La Palma in California. And it's a position at the moment where the temperature heats up that things are getting even more critical, aren't they?
Yeah, so like they'll probably explain this is highly volatile, highly toxic, highly flammable. So not only is there a risk of it leaking and causing irritant to respiration of animals and humans alike, but it also poses the risk of an actual explosion of a decent magnitude of demolishing houses within this vicinity, and then a plume that who knows where will reach. Now, this is a fundamental plastic product. Apparently, it's everything that from plexiglass. There we go. To all your unshatterable plastics, basically. And so this is intense. I'm not sure what we could be using instead of this material, but it's concerning. All right, so here we go.
That's right. Authorities here in Orange County have just said that the situation appears to be getting worse, not better. Now, just hours ago, they told us there are two possible scenarios. The first one is that these chemicals will erode the container first, and that they will leak out and be contained then by authorities before they leak into the sewer system and the water system and the ocean and create a regional catastrophe.
We hope. Again, this is if it doesn't completely blow up, because it's highly volatile, thus meaning it's flammable. If it blows, it could cause all of this around it to just be completely gone.
Environmentally. Believe it or not, that's the preferred scenario. The other scenario is that boiling chemical mix and the vapors that are expanding inside of that container will eventually explode and lead to a toxic plume above much of Orange County here in Southern California. That is the big worry. But I just spoke to a Congressman, Derek Tran, who said they are also exploring a possible third scenario, and they're sending in experts from across the country in order to try to achieve that. And that is somehow solidifying or freezing that material so that it neither leaks nor explodes. They don't know how to do that yet, but they're working on it. Meanwhile,
well, let's keep our fingers crossed that they figure it out. I would assume that, what is it? No. What's that cryogenic material that freezes everything? Anyway, welcome in Wi-Fi. Good to see you. Appreciate the engagement.
we're here where there's a Red Cross evacuation center. This is one of many across Southern California because 40,000 people have been evacuated, and there's been trouble trying to find places for those people. Many of them went to stay with friends and family. Others went to hotels. But this happens to be the Memorial Day holiday weekend. So hotels are either expensive or unavailable entirely. And when that happens, people come to places like this Red Cross Center. This is where hundreds and thousands of people have been coming. But the problem is they're
Thank you, Mr. B. I knew somebody in my chat would know it. Hey, JB, good to see you. Appreciate the engagement. Hope you're doing well, man. Again, appreciate you.
filling up. We just watched a few people be turned away from this one. They've got a capacity of about 180 people, and they are full. So the Red Cross and other agencies are trying to open more places for these people to stay because more are arriving by the hour. And each hour, I should remind you, those
Hardwire. Leia, I'm not sure if you saw it in the chat, but Hardwire is asking permission to restream your stream. I was going to ask the same thing, but where you're pretty small, I was going to keep it to your stream, and I'll be engaging on your stream. But I know that Hardwire's stream is during that time, so to avoid him having to do something, he's curious if he can restream your stream. Just kind of giving a shout out to you guys there.
that temperature is going up, raising the possibility that this will end in an explosion or a leak. And meanwhile, authorities are preparing for several days of this possibly happening before they contain this situation.
Yeah, so this is what is in these containers. So it's called methyl methacrylate. Again, it's highly toxic, and we'll let them explain it to you here.
Joining us now in studio to talk more about what the effects could be on people exposed to this.
Absolutely. It's a very scary, intense
Super
situation.
quiet.
The chemical is called methyl methacrylate, or MMA. It's highly toxic. It's used for shatter-resistant acrylic glass, paint, and adhesives. The OC Fire Authority says we have limited experience with this type of chemical leak, very few case studies. What we know is that it can be harmful whether you touch it.
Wi-Fi. Hardwire, can I restream your restream? Can I restream your restream of your restream? Of the restream? Of the restream?
Or breathe it in.
Sorry.
It's a respiratory irritant, so it can start off very mild, but it can progress to a point where, yes, you would probably require hospitalization, if not more.
Chief Nick Freeman said
If not more.
up to 7.
I'm sure we can guess what that means. So again, if you're in the California area, even around Orange County, keep an eye on this. Make sure you keep an eye on this.
1,000 gallons of methyl methacrylate spilling out of that tank. People who work with this chemical are required to wear goggles and respirators. We know this hazardous substance is heavier than air, so any release would sink to the ground. Doctors say abrupt contact can potentially damage more than your lungs and skin. It can affect all organs. A slow leak can cause long-term health impacts. It all depends.
Yeah, that's concerning for sure. Yeah, JB, exactly. Both words include meth. It's got to be bad. It cannot possibly be good in any way, shape, or form other than what it's made for, I guess. Yeah, re-examination. It'll be a restream hall of mirrors. You don't know who is hosting. Woo. So yeah, we'll Hardwire in the Discord. We'll get you a link. I'm pretty sure you're part of my Discord. If you're not, join the Discord and we'll get you a link because I don't think she's made it yet. Anyway, I'll get back to this.
On exposure.
We don't know. We don't know in terms if there was a plume, how heavy of a plume and concentration of the substance would be in that plume. So if that were to happen, again, we want everybody to be away from the zone that we have created to safeguard everybody's health.
As of now, no injuries or deaths reported at this point, but methyl methacrylate is highly flammable, therefore highly explosive. Emergency responders are trying to prevent that, but again, we don't know a lot about this leak, so it's best to leave the area if you've been told to evacuate. That's the one thing they want to.
That's the biggest thing I'm concerned about is they don't know. They'll admit that they don't know much about this leak. So obviously it's the first time it's happened. Highly toxic, highly volatile. it's interesting that this is happening, but just kind of keep an eye on it in, like I said, around that area if you're in that area. And if not, if you're downwind from that area, keep an eye on your health. Keep an eye on your health and your neighbors.
To get out there. Yeah. We heard you mention long-term consequences. Are there any studies about MMA causing cancer, perhaps, Denise?
Yes, again, very limited research, but what we do know is that even though it harms your skin, it harms your lungs and possibly skin, lungs, and your your brain, your
neural pathways.
Absolutely. For some reason, it's not considered carcinogenic. Even the U.S. EPA says that it may not cause.
Yeah, they say it's not carcinogenic, but what isn't? Honestly, what isn't carcinogenic these days? Right on, Hardwire, sub to Leia. Yeah, we got to build each other up for sure. Building the little circle we've got going on here. Puts a plastic bag over my head. All right, so let's see. Yeah, I mean, what else can you do? I guess if you're in that area. All right, so what I'm going to cover today is I actually kind of want to cover Rachel and Kathy Barnette first. This one is wild. I'm not sure how much I can handle of it. So if you don't know who Rachel Wilson is, definitely check the Crucible out. Jake Rattlesnake, these are all in the description below. Please check them out. Hey, Pharmacat, good to see you. I caught your swear jar stream this morning, of course. I think it started just as I was going to bed. I turned my phone off or whatever and then got up this morning and was like, oh, man. Hey, Static Age Show. Good to see you. And if you guys don't know in the chat, both of these people, Pharmacat has her own channel, does just random stuff sometimes, and does sheep content. She has her little sheepies that she shows. And then Static Age Show does his own show as well. Similar to mine, from what I understand. All right, so let's get into this. So basically, this is whether women should vote. Kathy Barnette is apparently running for Senate. This is the first time ever hearing of this lady. It's an interesting debate. We'll start off after the intros here, and I'll kind of jump through the debate. We'll see if I can get through it here fairly quickly. And we'll get on through to the Destiny debate. We'll call it that. We'll be nice.
Ideas and speak the truth, even if we think we may end up in the crosshairs of the left or someone else. So I come to this debate on first principles, because first principles don't care about your opinions. First principles don't care about your emotions.
Yeah. I realized that after I said that. I was like, from what I watch it. I know I watch it when I can. I don't always watch it. Because I'm busy.
It's all about the truth. I built my life on trying to figure out what is true, and then go about the process of building my life. And that's how I'm coming to this debate. And what's true? Let's start with our founding fathers, because I agree with them. They said that there is a God in heaven, a capital C creator, and that he has created every man equally. They also went on to say
Kyle.
that not only did he create each of us equally, but that he has endowed us with certain unalienable rights. Like
I just read that. Had me in tears. Yeah, this one's so sad. Like, it's wild. If you haven't seen it, check out the whole thing. Like I've mentioned before, I don't like cutting context, but I definitely want to cover both these because while they're still somewhat fresh, I want to cover them. This one and the Destiny debate that he kind of rage quits on. Spoiler alert. But we'll get into this one here real quick.
Liberty and the pursuit of happiness. But then they go on to say, in order to secure these rights, because there's always a bully somewhere waiting to infringe upon our rights, they said men create or institute governments, but that government receive or derive their just power by the consent of the governed. Newsflash, Rachel and others, I'm a part of the governed. And so
she thinks she's got such a good solid debate side here that she thinks that there's no way that she can be defeated here. And it's funny because she posts a clip of Rachel posing an undefeatable proposition, essentially, and she's basically defeating it in the clip. And it's like, I almost commented, I didn't, I held my tongue. But it's like, you really thought that this was you cooking this whole debate?
So not only did they say that our right, that the king do not give us rights, the government doesn't give us rights, the Pope doesn't give us rights, but that God has given us these rights. And the government's job is to simply secure those rights, not rescind them or take them away. So under our republic, political power comes.
And she goes on these diatribes, and she just goes and goes and goes on constant non sequiturs. Like right now, she's kind of off the subject. She constantly goes off the subject, and then she tries to pull. I hope I catch it. She's like, "Do you know what the non sequitur is?" She can't even pronounce it, and she's constantly pulling it. But it's hilarious. Hey, Chaos Theory, I appreciate the lurking. Appreciate the engagement while you can. I know you're lurking, and I appreciate it. Hey, Miss K, thank you very much for the engagement. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Hope everything's good for you. Good to see you.
Comes from the citizens. Again, as a woman, I'm still a part of the citizens. So as we move into this debate, I want to make some things clear. The 19th Amendment did not make me a person. The 19th.
Yeah, re-examination. If you don't come at them with some serious concrete evidence, they demolish them pretty quickly. And there's really nothing that you can really argue with them about, especially when it comes to force doctrine. Like, I don't know anything that really can refute the idea of force. We have to have it. It is just unavoidable. Yeah, right. Exactly. Non-sequoia.
Amendment did not make me a citizen. The 19th Amendment did not give me any rights. The 19th Amendment simply prohibited the government from denying and abridging the rights I already have because the government didn't give me anything.
Well, no, the government didn't give you it. The men did. The brutal men that I think it's one of the things that Andrew talks about drinking the blood of your enemies from their skulls, right? The men are the ones who are willing to do that. That's what's conquered lands. That's what's created the powerhouse that we have today, to be able to say that all men are created equal and we allow women to have the comforts that they have. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't allow women the comforts that they have, because we absolutely should. It's just time that the women start to understand that we give them those out of the kindness of our own heart, essentially. And we are benevolent. We could essentially cause some serious irreparable damage if we chose to. And women in collective can't, right? I understand that you have done some great deeds through the political stance or the moral stance, and I give you props for those. The passing of the prohibition, right? That was done by women before the 19th Amendment was passed. So they do great things even without that ability to vote. So I've skipped forward here a little bit. So I'm trying to get to a point where she starts talking about, I can't remember exactly what I've saved here, but we'll see.
Then I don't want that kind of government. And in fact, it was a strong enough urge that caused the colonists to go into a very violent assault on England. And
no, I haven't seen that. Maybe drop it in the Discord, and I'll have to check that out. Re-examination. Kind of curious now. All right, so let's get back to this. Yeah, Miss K, I don't know. This woman is so wild to me. Like, it's almost 3 hours long. They go into the question and answer portion, and hopefully I get into the debate with Destiny. And don't go too far into this one, but she gets some crazy takes in this one. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check out the whole debate.
So if that principle applies to men, why doesn't it apply to women? Because by 1913, women were being taxed without the ability to have a voice in the government.
Okay, so there's a lot that I think we should kind of try to keep our back and forth a little.
Gotta love the 3 gallons of water that she's got, but it's only half full. We're already, we're 28 minutes in, so she couldn't have drank half that in 28 minutes. So is this just virtue signaling, basically? Look at me in my water jug. Sorry.
A little bit briefer, just so that we're not monologuing to the point where we have 10 points to address back and forth. It might be a good idea, but
I will agree with that if you do too.
I will agree with that, and then she doesn't. She doesn't listen to her own like agreement. Supposedly, she agrees upon it, then she doesn't even listen to it.
Yeah. First, you didn't address my point about women's rights this is something people don't like to confront. They don't like to hear this because we've had 100 years of feminist propaganda telling us otherwise. Women don't have rights unless men grant them to us and enforce them on our behalf. You and I, Kathy.
Yes, water is good for you. And if she had that whole jug and if she has drank that throughout the day, I give her props. I will admit that. But I highly doubt it. I think it's like Pharmacat said, performative water. Miss K says she can only get water once a day, right? Exactly. She only remembers it once a day. She got to fill up that whole thing. Hey, Bandit, welcome in. Good to see you. Appreciate the engagement, guys. Appreciate
We're
you.
not going to rise up and physically take back our rights if they are rescinded. And I can give you examples of this from all around the world, but we also have an example right here in the United States where in the state of Utah, women were granted, it was the second state to give women a vote when it was still a territory. And under the Edmunds-Tucker Act, that right was taken away in the 1870s, I believe. And so women in Utah had the vote for a couple decades. It was taken away for about 50 years before it was granted again in the 1920s. So this idea that once the government says you have a right, that you're always and forever going to have that is silly. We saw this with Roe v. Wade and women losing their minds over abortion. The men grant rights to women. And because of that, because men are the ones who build and maintain this country, they defend its borders, they fight and die in wars, they are obligated by law.
That's so funny, Pharmacat. I was thinking about getting a 5-gallon jug of water and filling it like maybe a half-gallon full. Oh, sorry. I'm being an ass. Anyway.
To sign up for the selective service, and women are not. Why do we deserve equal say in how any of that goes? I don't think women should be telling men how to build and maintain the country, how to defend the country, how to enforce its laws, because we cannot do those things. And now, can you answer specifically just to that portion of my argument?
Yes.
And we want to keep it a bit more brief here, guys, the answers. And otherwise, if it's not brief, we're going to have to do the 1 minute or 2 minute monologues back and forth.
I agree.
But let's try to
That would have been hilarious if she had known that would have been the way it was going to go down and she would have been able to prep for it. That would have been hilarious. Typical feminist drinking water. Pshaw. Who drinks water anyway? I know it was kind of a stupid thing to critique, but I found it funny. When Kathy talks, it causes me to physically cringe. Yeah, me too.
That's the question.
Okay. Okay.
I had to stop it and go back to it 3 or 4 different times. I watched it live and I had to turn it down and do other things and then come back to it and engage when I could and things like that. And then I had to watch it in spurts because her rambling going on and on is just intense. Kind of like I do, right?
I wrote down a little bit of what you said. You said a lot, but I wrote down as much as I could. Your question is...
Sorry, re-examination. I didn't mean to, as long as it's like a water bottle or something like that. Jake's got a bottle. I'm not making fun of him. Rachel took a drink. I'm not making fun of her. Sorry.
Men grant rights,
and
women if women cannot do anything, cannot uprise against. I mean, you said if and a woman cannot rise up and defend those rights or the recension of those rights. And so again, the fallacy here, are you saying, I just want to make sure that I'm clear on what you're saying. So you're saying that if I cannot rise up and defend those rights, then I don't have those rights.
Correct. The thing is rights don't exactly exist without a collective of people to agree upon those rights as said rights. If you don't have a group of people, they're just abilities, and then they become freedoms when there are people involved, and then those freedoms then become rights. There's got to be a definition, separation between these definitions so that we understand what we're talking about. Because again, when it boils down to it, if you don't have someone to force someone to allow you the ability to have the freedom of said rights, you don't have said rights. So if Jake wanted to take those rights away from you, he could, but he chooses not to. Then they keep bringing it back to Jake as the example of force, right? Let's see. A Farmer Cat says, I'd take her more seriously if she had a fridge cig. Great American soda. Fair enough. Bandit, make her do the 4 gallons in a 5-gallon jug. Use only 3 to 5 gallon jugs. Yeah, right. Exactly. Anyway. All right, we'll get back to this.
I'm saying that as
I mean, to Jake's point, just yes or no. I mean, is that true?
No, that's so what you're missing is
I wrote it down.
What you're
Do you
missing
want to just elucidate
is
the point? Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Men as a whole, as a group, we rely on them to enforce any rights we have. We can't enforce rights on our own behalf. So we are asking and petitioning men for those rights, and those men, benevolent as they are, grant them and enforce them on our behalf.
And so allow me to ask. So you said men grant us these rights, and if they and I'm assuming you're alluding to men have the strength and the ability to enforce these rights. And if they don't enforce these rights, then women don't have the strength or the ability to do anything about it.
Yeah.
So are you saying to me then, I just want to make sure that I'm clear here, that, I mean, Jake, I saw one of your videos where you were boxing and all of that. I love MMA, by the way. So are you saying to me that if a weaker man comes in, so let's just use you, Jake. If a stronger man comes in and he's able to beat you up and you can't do anything to defend yourself against him, does that mean Jake no longer has rights because he can't he doesn't have the physical capacity to do anything about this man coming in?
So you're not, I'll try again because you're not quite understanding it. So
I think I am understanding what you're saying.
Let me explain. You wanted clarification, so I'll clarify. When we say women are the one who have children, that means in general, not all women have children and not all women can have children, but only women can have children. It's the same with men. Not all men can fight in a war. Not all men defend the border, but only men can do those things. So that's where we have to clarify. We can't be stuck in this hyper individualist mindset where we're thinking each and every single person and every exception. The exception proves the rule. So if you look around the world, women don't have rights in every society.
Yeah, again, if you look, like she just said, if you look anywhere else in the world, there's been a time that men have collectively said, yeah, no, we don't want to give you any more rights. And they've taken those said rights away and given them back and taken away and given them back. But hey, examination show, you're part Irish, huh? That's cool. I'm actually part Irish too. A little bit of Irish in me. She's doing the I know someone with that's the exception meme with the extra steps. Yeah, exactly. The exception doesn't, it just proves the rule, right? It doesn't make anything change. It doesn't make you better because you're the exception. Maybe you are better, but just you. It's not making a change of the rule.
Okay,
I'm just explaining how things are, not how they ought to
defend
be.
the rest of the world. I'm talking about our country, which is the greatest country that is.
But if you're going to say that God has given you these rights and they're inalienable to all men and women, everybody's created equally, then you would have to say across the world, you should have to defend the entire world if you're going to try to pull that. And you can't say that the rest of the world has those rights because they just provably don't. So that means that God does not give us rights. He gives us duties. He gives us the duty to not unalive your neighbor, to not steal from your neighbor, to not do those things. That's why. Not because you have the right to it, but because you're supposed to not do the opposite to create the unaliving. Anyway, so long story short, you would have to defend the entire world in that stance, and you're not.
Ever existed. I'm sure you will agree. I don't know if you agree. I'm assuming. But America is the greatest country that has ever existed. And it's the greatest country that has ever existed because it was founded. Yes,
thank you, Ms. Gaz. Andrew says the exception does not make the rule. It just proves the rule. It just shows us that just because there's one little outlier doesn't make everybody else the same.
Founded upon these values that have found their way into the framework of not only the Constitution, but the Declaration of Independence. And so I'm not very interested in the rest of the world, but just our country. And again,
so again, you have to be talking about the entire world if you're going to stand on the premise of a man, or I'm sorry, of a God giving you the rights that you so lovingly cherish. You would have to stand on the entire world because God has created the entire world and everybody inside of it.
If your premise is
She goes on to talk about being in the military at some point in time and how she leads men. I'm trying to get to that point. Hopefully we find it here.
Strength, the ability, then it has to apply even to the weak man or to the baby who can't defend themselves. And I just find it's just so full. It's illogical to try to argue that I should not have rights because I
didn't say you should not. See, this is where.
So do you understand an is and an ought statement, Kathy? We're not saying you ought not to have rights. It's just the fact that this is how it is, and you have rights without the corresponding duty to have to sign up for the draft. Just because you went and volunteered for it does not make you better.
Where you're not.
Sure, you have the right to vote. I'm not going to say she doesn't have the right to vote because she did serve in the military. Was just in finance, as we find out later on, but she likes to brag and boast about this position in the military and how she trained with men and how she led men. Hopefully we get to that, but spoiler alert, she talks about how she led men and she trained with men and she did all these things, and then she turns out to be in finance. Finance does not lead men. It trains with men. Yeah, I'll give you that part. I'm not in military, I never was, so I'm not sure exactly what all entails. But you did not lead men. So by saying that she does, she basically tries to steal the valor, essentially, and then tries to deny it later on in the question and answer. This lady, it's wild to me. Bandit says, he also says absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. I don't know how that applies here, but he also says that. Thanks for that feedback, Bandit. Appreciate the engagement, buddy. Oh, man. I love that part when she says she led men with an M16 in her hand and she admits that she worked in finance. Exactly. I don't know if I'm going to cover it because I'm trying to jump through this. But again, if you haven't seen this whole debate, please go check it out. Check out Rattlesnake TV. He does a good job at what he does. But that part is hilarious to me. I'm like, a woman isn't going to be leading men with an M16. What is going on? And then she turns out she's in finance. It's funny. I'm sorry. It's funny. It reminds me of that George Carlin bit about how we don't have a Bill of Rights, but a Bill of Temporary Privileges. Yeah, Leia, exactly. We don't have a Bill of Rights. I'm sorry. It's not rights. They're rights because we agreed they call them rights. Otherwise, they're duties without, well, they're the privilege absent the duty. But again, if you're talking about God, if you're talking about what God has given us, it's the duties to not unalive or do those things to then allow them the freedoms that they have.
Using logic. I did not say should not
be able to vote, that I should not be able to vote. Now, I spent 10 years in the military. I trained alongside men in the military. I was in the foxholes. I got thrown out of planes.
Nice.
I was out there with my...
There it is. There it is. Nice. Here it is. She's so crazy.
Each and every single person and every exception. The exception proves the rule. So if you look around the world, women don't have rights in every society.
JB. Yeah, that's the truth, buddy.
Okay,
I'm just explaining how things are, not how they
defend the rest of the world. I'm talking about.
Oh, jump back too far. Sorry, guys.
The greatest country that has ever existed. I'm sure you will agree. I don't know if you agree. I'm assuming. But America is the greatest country that has ever existed. And it's the greatest country that has ever existed because it was founded upon these values that have found their way into the framework of not only the Constitution, but the Declaration of Independence. And so I'm not very interested in the rest of the world, but just our country. And again, your premise, if your premise is based on strength, the ability, then it has to apply even to the weak man or to the baby who can't defend themselves. And
it does. It does. The strong men, those brutal men standing by, waiting to do harm, waiting to do violence on your behalf, on my behalf, on the weak man's behalf. So it does, lady. What are you talking about?
Find it is just so full. It's illogical to try to argue that I should not.
Yeah, sorry guys, I jumped back way too far, but I wanted to make sure you hear that whole bit. This whole bit is just coming up. It's so funny. She was thrown out of planes.
Yeah. Have rights because I mean
I didn't say you should not. See, this is where you're not using logic. I did not say should not
be able to vote, that I should not be able to vote. Now, I spent 10 years in the military. I trained alongside men in the military. I was in the foxholes. I got thrown out of planes.
Thrown out of planes? You're too much of a chicken to jump, so we're gonna knock you out. Oh man. Did it go poof? I don't know. What did you say? Is YouTube filtering my comments already? Dang YouTube.
I was out there with my M16.
I'm sorry, YouTube. I'm just kidding. Don't reduce my viewership.
Leading men over hills and under valleys and all over the place.
So there it is. Leading men over hills and under valleys and all sorts of stuff. I was leading men. I was leading men.
So I was defending. I am very strong. But now does that but should my rights, whether or not I have rights, be based upon whether or not I can beat you up or I can force you to give them back? No, that's ridiculous.
But you're straw universal argument. You're straw manning.
I don't think so.
Just quickly, guys. 1 second. I think that there is a little bit of a disconnect going on here. So Rachel, I'll get you to elucidate this. Just say, for example, Rach, if you can do a clean and press heavier than me in the gym, all right? Does that?
Like, I get that you can't refill. I'm sorry, I'm stuck on this water bottle. But if you can't get a drink throughout the whole stream, I understand. So have a little bit bigger of a bottle, but that's like 2 gallons that she's got there. Sorry, I'm stuck on that water bottle. Anyway, we'll skip forward here a little bit. Let me see, where was my other timestamp? I think it was about 42 minutes here.
No, I know they don't. I know,
and
that's not what I'm saying. And that's not what I'm saying.
At the founding, you say that you're a constitutionalist, and at the founding, the founders agreed with me.
Simply repeating what you said, Rachel. So you did say that, which is what I've been saying the entire time.
So, Ms. K, the ability to parachute, the ability to get out of a plane in a hurry, I can see being part of basic training. But leading men, I'm sorry, but I'm not seeing that part of it. and definitely not for finance. Jumping out of an airplane, I don't know why you would need to be jumping out of an airplane for finance. Possible. It is possible. But yeah, when she admits that she was in finance, there's like 5 different super chatters at the end that are trying to get her to say what her MOS was. And she finally admits that she was finance, and it's just like, she got ripped a new one. And then people were saying that she's stolen valor, which I agree with. The way that she just said that basically makes it seem like she was a lieutenant, or she was a captain, or something like that. I've never been in the military, so if I botched those positions up, I apologize to anyone who was, and I appreciate your service. And for those in the chat, I'm curious, how stupid is the story?
Then again leads me to, so only women can have children. All women can have children, but only women can have children.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So again, according to your logic, only women can have abortions. All women don't have abortions, but only women can have abortions.
Well, yes, only women can have abortions.
I'm going to take this huge leap across 27 buildings
Bad.
to get to my conclusion, which is what you did, which are only men example.
How is that a huge leap? How is that a huge leap when the Constitution was built off of men? All men are created equal, as she goes on to read. Furthermore, women never had the right to vote until the 19th Amendment. Only men with property did, right? Not even all men had the right to vote. And again, I agree with that. Not all men should have the right to vote. If you're not putting more into the system than you're taking out, if you're able to vote for me to have to pay you more because you're not wanting to do anything other than to vote me to pay you more, you shouldn't have the right to vote until you have proven you can put back into the system to pay yourself and me if I have to go down. Because that should go both ways. You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. Hey, don't call it art. Appreciate the engagement, buddy. Men rule and women drool. As the old saying goes. That's not what I'm saying, but that's what I'm just kidding. Lieutenant and captain is right, but I'm in the same boat with you. Fair enough, Bandit. I appreciate the feedback. All right.
I'm going to take these huge leapfrogs over here to get to a conclusion that says, therefore, abortion is a right. That because only women can do it and men can't.
That doesn't.
It's not even that. Again, this is why we need to redefine what a right, what a freedom, what an ability, what a responsibility is. Because again, when you're born, you have the ability to breathe. But if somebody comes along and takes that ability away from you, it was never a right in the first place. You have the freedom once somebody has come by and said, yeah, you're going to live. I'll walk past you. You now have the freedom to live. It isn't until there's a collective of people that have decided that it is a right that it becomes a right. When that collective then decides it is no longer a right, guess what? It isn't. It's just an ability that no longer you have the ability to keep as an ability. I'm guilty of it too. I'm not going to say I'm a He-Man warrior, right? If the poo-poo were hit the fan, I don't know where I would stand. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it, right?
Follow.
Choice. Yes, it does. Well,
no, that doesn't follow. And I'll explain again why it doesn't.
No, thank you. But what doesn't follow?
No, thank you. She's, as Rachel's just about to say, she's trying so hard to be right. She's trying so hard to make Rachel be wrong, essentially, but make Rachel listen to her because she knows she's right here. And I'm sorry, but you're not. It is what it is, and what it is force doctrine. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, I guess, right? Because I can't help it. I'm not the strongest of the bunch, but I do brick and stone, so I'm a little bit stronger than the average Joe Schmo that just sits on his couch, for example. I'm not saying I'm good because I probably sit on my couch more than I should at this point in time because I haven't had work. That's not my fault, though. I try. Anyway, Hardwire says, yes, it's not cool for people to constantly milk off the system. And that's exactly it right there. And only men can lift an entire building with their bare hands. Don't call it art. Entire building. That's true. Superman could. I'm just kidding. But it's a man still, right? It's insanely stupid. And there's an argument of actual stolen valor for her to say that she put her life on the line. Biggest risk she faced was a paper cut. Exactly, Vashmit. And that's just it, right? I appreciate her service. I will never say that anybody that signed up for military service is not doing the right thing. Whether they go into battle or just finance, somebody has to do the finance. But just then turn around and say that you led men, that you put your life on a line, that you were carrying an M16 through valleys and over hills, that's where it gets to be. You shouldn't have said that. You should have just left it as, I was in the military, I served my time. Yeah, we are He-Man woman haters. That's funny. Pretty much about the right time, too, I think. Only men can throw a baseball into outer space. Wait, what is going on? Don't call it art. That's funny. If you're going to drag the entire system, you should have to give us the right to vote until you get off of the system, right? Yeah, right. She may have led men during OCS, but she never led anyone in actual combat, but makes her claim as she did. And that's the thing. That's right there. So she could have led men. I'm not military. I'm not going to say she didn't lead men in the training part of it, but you can't blurt it out like, oh, I trained men, or I led men over hills and under valleys. No, just say I trained with men. And part of that training, you can even go as far as even part of that training was to lead. I got trained to lead, but you didn't lead in battle. You didn't lead in battle. I'm sorry.
Rachel.
No, I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry, I guess. See, here I am again, you guys. From what, 3 or 4 different previous streams ago? Have we been doing the drinking game? I don't know. Are you guys dead yet? Or hydrated? Thoroughly hydrated?
It's your premise altogether, and I saw that quite a bit.
So hard.
I actually don't know.
You're trying so hard. The patience that Rachel has with this woman, with all of the people that she argues with, for that matter, is impressive. But that you're trying so hard. Bless your heart.
I've actually looked at a lot of these debates, and I'm not sure I actually understand the argument here in terms of what we're getting at. So, if you could just try and summarize it as quick.
Abortion is not analogous.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that, Hardwire. Anyone signing up for assistance from the government should give up their right to vote until they no longer need welfare assistance. I would agree with that. Again, if you're taking from the system, and maybe, well, if you're having to sign up for welfare, you're not making enough to be feeding into the system. So, like, for example, the previous years you paid in a ton of money or something like that, then maybe we can, But yeah, if you're signing up for an assistance that day, you should have to register to not vote, basically. Or just not vote. Just take it upon yourself and not vote. She's made such a big deal out of it. Yeah, for real, Miss K. Yeah, the testing regularly, exactly, Leia. If I have to pass one to work to earn that pay income that you're then taking, you should have to keep off of it to be able to get that from us. I know that feeling, Hardwire. All right.
Yes, though, because as I said, we're talking about killing a child, and the child is owned equally by the man who gave 50% of his DNA to help create it. So it wouldn't be analogous to say that because only women can have abortions, they should be the only ones who have a say, my body, my choice, no uterus, no opinion. No, that is not, that does not logically follow for two reasons. One is the fetus does not only belong to the woman and we're killing the fetus. Yes, it's in her body, but that's just its location. It still belongs equally to the man. And the second reason is if men don't grant you abortion rights, you don't have abortion rights. So it's not analogous to my defense and infrastructure.
Okay. So again, allow me to say what I said at the very beginning. I am not here to defend the baked in lies of feminism. My entire life has been doing the opposite. When I find out what a feminist principle may be, I have done all that I can to do the actual reverse. And that is how, again, I've been able to build a life that I'm extremely happy with. But
this whole debate, you've been fighting for women to vote. That is feminism to the core of it, isn't it? What is going on right now? I'm super confused. Vashmit says the trade-off is that even people on benefits still pay sales tax, property tax, and many other tax. I propose an income-only tax, no other taxes. I agree with that. And yeah, Bandit. So I don't know exactly what what you're referring to. I'm curious. Potato has been referencing the water bottle, but it's the first time I actually saw it. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it, Bandit? Wild. But yeah, so costing more than just the right to vote. I'm curious what you're thinking there. Because yeah, Vashmit, we all pay all sorts of different kinds of taxes: sales tax, property tax, and then the income tax. And I fully agree with we need to get rid of as many taxes as we can. Taxation is theft. We do need some kind of system to make sure that people that do have to have the welfare system have that ability, right? There are people that have to have that assistance. It is what it is, and it will always be such. So we need to make sure that we're taking care of those people as much as we can.
again, are you familiar with the fallacy non sequitur? Non sequitur.
So who has been doing the non sequiturs this whole time? This whole debate, we're going on for 44 minutes. She goes on at about 56 minutes. She wants to move on because she can't get a point up on Rachel. So can we move on? But what she can't even pronounce it. Do you know what a non sequitur is? And Rachel's sitting there laughing. I can only imagine how much she's laughing internally. Because I would have probably died off that chair as soon as she said that. I'd have probably been rolling with that.
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Because I find that you do that in your book. Now, you did an amazing job in your book.
She just shakes her head. She's like, what? Like I said, I would have been dying rolling off that chair. What? Non sequiturs in her book? No, I'm sorry. No.
Rachel, on explaining the occult aspect behind feminism, double clicking on the original suffragists and all the things that they were up to. And I found that part of your book to be, just very educational. I'm very grateful for that piece of it.
Yeah, thank you.
But then there would be other times in the book that you would make a premise and then you would do non sequitur, right? Fallacy. And for those who don't know,
sequitur. I would ban it if I could find it without going back 5 minutes and having to make you watch all of that again. I would find it, but yeah, it's non sequitur. We got a new faucet apparently. Non sequitur. Yeah. Only men can wrestle a dinosaur. Don't call it art. Fair enough. Anyway.
What that is simply, it's Latin for girl, you just doing way too much. And the math isn't mathing on some things that is too many.
Non sequitur is exactly what I said you were doing.
One moment. Don't interrupt me and correct me. How dare you correct me? This is wild. Like the whole time, this whole hour long, 45 minutes, you've been obfuscating, you've been rambling, you've been talking over. Okay, so I did do a Google search on this lady after I watched this, because I'm like, who is this woman? And I did a Google search, and she's running for Senate or whatever. But it's like, do you have your own like podcast? Because y'all know I talk, and I won't shut up, right? But she talks and she talks and she talks, and it's like, do you have your own show that you think this is your show? Because it's not your show. Shut up and let the other person talk.
Or the premise does not, the conclusion does not follow
your
from the premise.
I didn't even make a premise except to try to understand your original premise. I was trying to answer your question, but in order to answer your question, I wasn't making a premise. I was saying, well, then if this is what you believe, then the next obvious step would be this other thing. I wasn't making a premise. I haven't made a premise yet.
But I pointed out
made a premise yet. I was just trying to understand yours. But you start with the premise that says women are emotional and their maternal instincts get weaponized and manipulated.
Okay, let's try to stick to what we're talking about here in the debate.
We do have to try and land the plane. Just quickly, guys. When the moderator speaks, everybody has to be silent. Okay.
Okay. She's like, okay, like he's actually gonna do it or something. Like, why would you? Like, she's so submissive in the moment. But when it really boils down to it, she continues to talk over Rachel. She continues to try to talk over Jake. Again, does she think this is her show? What is going on? I think people in the chat of the live chat were wondering the same thing, Bandit. Is that a wig? And what's funny is I've gone and I've looked at her pictures, and I'm pretty sure they all look about the same. Like, she just 70s, 60s hairstyle is her style, I guess. Call me crazy, but isn't her mentioning non sequiturs in Rachel's book actually in and of itself a non sequitur? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, just so wild to me that she's like, do you know what a non sequitur is? To non sequitur off of the topic. Like, literally. Like, I hope she sees this, to be completely honest.
So just quickly, non sequitur. I've just looked up the definition of it. Latin phrase that translated to that it does not follow. Okay, so the premise,
right, which is
conclusion,
what I said.
the conclusion doesn't follow from the premise. Okay, so
and that's what I'm saying you're doing.
Just quickly, are we
that's
going
what
now
you're
into
doing.
critiques? We're going into book
demonstrate
critiques
it.
now.
Yeah.
Is that what we're going into? Because it looks like we're going into something new here.
We have to. We still haven't gotten.
And Jake points it out. He points it out. Okay, it looks like we're going off topic, non sequitur, onto the book critique that you started, Kathy. No.
Task force doctrine.
No, but I'm not critiquing the book. I said I really enjoyed the book. I've read the book, and I enjoyed learning a lot about the history of the book. I would encourage anyone to get your book. While you're at it,
I would encourage anyone to get your book, but get my book first.
let me plug my own book. You can get my book.
I fucking told you.
As well. Nothing to lose, everything to gain, being Black and conservative in America.
And of course, the race card. She pulls that a couple times in the slightest of ways that she can. I have the 47 years of the slave history in my background. Yeah, exactly, Miss Kate. Just so cringe. Oh my goodness. And the fact that I don't know what Jake would have done. I don't know what I would do if I were in his position, but to have her allow her to plug her book in like this.
America. But I really enjoyed your book, especially the historical aspect of it. I did not know all of those different things. Now I know it. And that too has come,
Yeah, exactly, Kyle. I'm speaking
really
now.
I love the historical part of it. I'm just saying is that you have a tendency, like you just did.
Yeah, exactly.
When we
Re-examine.
started off here of making a print.
And like, I don't know what I would do if it was my show, but she just sits there and rambles and trails. And like, I know I'm bad about it sometimes, but I try to land my plane and I try to allow other people to talk. And that's the biggest thing about debates is you've got to be able to allow people their side or else it doesn't move forward. We just ramble.
And the premise of why we're here on whether or not women should vote is your premise that I've heard you say in multiple interviews, what I read in your book as well, is that women are emotional beings with these maternal instincts.
Argument, but that's not the argument I just made, and I've got to stop you because you keep going off and reaching for other things.
Okay, go ahead.
The question I asked is...
She again points it out, and Kathy doesn't she doesn't deny it. She doesn't even comprehend what Rachel is pointing out to her. She's like, okay, go ahead. And I think it's ironic that her laptop says truth on it. I find that comically hilarious myself. So I don't have many mods in my chat. We haven't had very many call outs for the donations, the contribute to the cause. If you do like this stream, please like, subscribe, share it out, right? If you would be so kind. And I do have links in the description for any kind of contributions. I don't like the other terms that people call them because I'm trying to make a nation for everyone, right? This is going to be hopefully a benefit to a lot of different people, not just myself when I build this. So I want contributions to said nation. So if you would be so kind, they are in the chat or in the description, but if not, completely understand. I appreciate the engagement is all I really care for. Get the algorithm to start paying me from YouTube, right? Let's get some subscriptions. That's all I'm caring about. All right, so let's see. Conservative used to be super loosely. Again, I see conservative being used super loosely again. Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's just it right there. What a woman gonna do to stop a T-Rex? Talk it to death? Yeah. Nag it to death. Don't call it art. Come on, they've got more power than just talking. Sorry, ladies. What I'm hearing is Kathy owes Rob money for promoting her book. Yeah, right. Yeah, she owes the Jake moderator for sure. Women are emotional. They have more powerful hormones. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we'll get back into this. Let me see here. So we've got a little bit under an hour till we've got to probably sign off. So I'll jump forward here on this. Again, if you haven't seen this whole debate, go check it out. Yeah, I had a timestamp to look at her jug again. Man, I'm stuck on that jug, guys. I'm sorry. But I won't necessarily jump to that part here. Let me see. So let me jump to 127. She starts whining about moving on. So this is just it. Okay, so we've been talking for about 50 minutes on the same topic because she just rambles and she goes on non sequiturs and she won't answer any questions that Rachel has. And so we get all the way from 50 minutes up to an hour and 27 minutes, and she finally starts to whine to move on. And it's like, lady, just answer the question.
Over, at the Liberty Hall itself. But I understand why they didn't. It was a rigorous debate. I understand why they didn't free Black people at the time. Disagree with it completely since I have the blood of slaves coursing through my veins.
Race card, yet again. I think that's the twice time that she does it in this debate. I've got the blood of slaves racing through my veins. It's like, why bring that up other than to pull the race card?
However, I understand what it is that they did and the process that they created. They didn't lock up the U.S. Constitution and say, this is it. It is perfect. No one can touch it. And so, as I said earlier, we have been on a 250-year long march of fulfilling the promises that they declared in the Declaration. And for me, with first principles, I came to this debate. I'm coming to this debate based on the premise, because again, as I said earlier, the Constitution, the country doesn't exist apart from it. This country, as we know it, only exists within the frameworks of the Constitution. You start unraveling the premise, being that there is a God who has given us rights, and these rights did not come from the government.
But again, you don't stand on that, Kathy. If you did, you would be willing to fight for the rest of the world on that premise. But you can't. No one can, because Sharia law in and of itself decimates the idea of God-given rights of free will, freedoms, all of that stuff. You can't stand on that premise. So stop trying, people. Stop trying. If you believe in God, if you believe that they're God-given rights, then you have to defend the rest of the world, and you can't. If you believe in God, you actually understand God, you believe that it's God-given duties. I am not allowed to unalive other people, thus meaning you have said right to life. I am unallowed to take water from you, to take food from you, because that's theft. Those things are what God's made of us, not rights. Rights don't exist.
You begin to unravel the very country itself.
Okay, so I would respond by saying, yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said there, actually. And what you really admitted was, no, we should not stick strictly to the constitutional framework that existed at the very beginning of the nation.
I know, guys, give me a break, but we've gotten maybe a liter gone of water. I know, I'll leave it alone.
So you have kind of abandoned this argument and realized
I never had that argument. I was asking you the question because you said they didn't give it to women at the start, and I said they didn't give men the right to own men who didn't have property couldn't vote. So that wasn't my argument.
You just decimated your own argument, Kathy. By admitting that men didn't have the right to vote, it means that it wasn't like it was an unequal thing. That wasn't sexist when they gave men the right to vote, because not all men had the right to vote until women had the right to vote. It's not a sexist thing for men to have the right to vote when they were the property owners of the day. Now, if we were to roll back voting, which I completely agree with, if we were to roll back voting back to property ownership or the ability to serve in the military, owning a business, something along those lines where you're putting back into the system more than you're taking from the system, then yeah, I agree completely. We need to roll back voting. Now, taking women's rights, that's neither here nor there. But we need to take away the 19th Amendment to roll back voting. If that means just amending the 19th Amendment, that's fine. But the 19th Amendment is what's holding things in place.
And I'm just telling you how your argument doesn't follow logic. It misses a whole lot of steps in between. Can we move on to another another thought?
And there it is. Can we move on? I'm not getting my way. It's not working out the way I wanted it to work out. You're not accepting that God has given me the rights that I have, because you are a Christian too, so you are supposed to agree with me. But because you're not, let's move on.
Sure, but what you just described was progressivism. What you described was what the left progressive side believes, which is that the Constitution is a living, breathing document.
No, just no.
Subject to change over time.
It's so bad in this debate. So again, if you haven't seen this debate, if you haven't seen the whole debate, please go down into the description and go check it out after the stream. I appreciate the engagement, guys. We have a good amount of viewers. For everybody that's viewing, thank you so much for being here. But definitely check the stream out and see what she actually has and what she does and things like that. But long story short, it gets to the point where Jake has to give them 2 minutes. 2 minutes! I don't give 2 minutes when I moderate a debate. 2 minutes back and forth, that's a lot of time. I mean, you could write stuff down, but she is such a spurg. She's so filibustering that Jake feels like he needs to give him 2 minutes so that she can filibuster it out for a minute and still get some kind of argument through. Otherwise, they'd never make any progress in this debate. So yeah, it is quite an interesting debate to watch. So if you haven't watched it, definitely go check it out. It cracks me up for sure.
It changes. You just described it. It changes over time, and it fulfills the will of the people over time as the will of the people shifts and as things change, because we are so far from what the founders framed.
I agree.
And you think that's good. Now, I'm not making the argument either way.
I didn't say that was good.
I'm not.
I didn't say that was good. I did not say that was good. No, what I said is, no, what I said is, what I said is that our founding.
She just, Rachel, bless her. Like, you just, okay. I'm just not even going to try to fight you anymore. And at that point in time, Jake should, well, again, I don't know what I would have done on my channel. The filibustering and the obfuscation and this kind of stuff, we've got to get past this kind of stuff to be able to make the conversations move forward. And I'd probably not wanted to necessarily pick that battle again, because how many times have Jake's done this throughout this hour and a half? Probably a dozen to 24 times he's had to step in and tell Kathy to allow Rachel to have her point before she talks. So she just needs to learn. And she talks about how she's a debater, and if you Google her, you find this out. And so I Googled her, like I said, and she's in politics, so she should know this stuff. And this is painful.
Fathers, at the time that they wrote this, they created a process that allows future generations to be able to responsibly go back in and interpret the words, and then
they did. That's exactly what I'm saying.
And but for example, the Constitution did not.
I gotta talk too. I gotta be able to talk to.
Yeah, you got to allow the back and forth. That's the other thing is, again, 2 minutes back and forth. So they started that, and then it kind of went to the wayside. That's one thing I've noticed about a lot of debates, including my own. I've moderated a couple of debates that it's just like, okay, a minute, you get a minute, you get a minute. And it gets confusing for the moderator. It gets confusing for the debaters. It gets confusing all around. So you've got to allow the people to feed you back some information so that we can move forward. If you just monologue, all you're doing is just beating your head against a rock is all you're doing at that point in time. We got to allow people to speak their piece so that the conversations move forward. Well, what she says here coming up is just, it caught me by surprise for anybody to say out loud.
So you're right. They created a process by which leftists can argue that women should have abortion on demand and that gays should be able to get married and all these other things. That is correct, which is why I'm not a constitutionalist. I'm not a big fan of the American system. I think it's deeply flawed. However, let's get back to women voting. Would you like to talk? You said you want to bring up something, so I want to give you the opportunity
to
bring up an argument about women voting and why women deserve to vote the same as men, or why ever, who should vote and why.
And let me just say, I did not say, and I.
No, she doesn't want women to have the same rights as men to vote. She wants them to have more. She doesn't want to have to sign up for the draft. She doesn't want women to have to sign up for the draft. She wants more rights to vote than men get.
Did not sign up to say why women should vote just like men.
What was that?
I came on to talk about why women should vote, period.
And there it is. Like I said, she is straight out saying that women should have the right to vote, period. Men, we have to sign up for the draft. Men, you have to lay your life on the line. I'm going to go into finance. I'm going to go and volunteer. And because I volunteered, I'm better than you. She has the audacity to say that at some point in time, too. Hates America, but brags about being a soldier. And that's just it right there, JB. And I believe that you have some history in the service. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. But this gets wild, and I'll jump forward here. Let me see where it's at. Let me see. She talks about eternal vigilance. And it's like, yeah, eternal vigilance is the discomfort that you have to make a living. Everybody goes through discomfort at some point in time in their life. And especially when times are hard. And we're getting into times are hard. So at this point in time, it's time to start making people uncomfortable again. Men and women alike. Again, I'm not going to call out just women on this channel. Men need to stand up too. I'm not one to talk. That's why I'm here, trying to stand up, trying to show those out there that are sitting on their couch somewhere that you can have the gumption to stand up. Do something to better yourself. Just because you're not something right now doesn't mean tomorrow you aren't going to be something. If you try to be, you've got to work for it. Bandit says, but if you're a Barnette, as a moderator, you end up stepping on good conversation. So in my opinion, it's better to be on the lax side of moderation. Well, I agree with that to a certain extent, but it goes back to the respect of the debaters themselves, right? If the debaters have respect for the audience so that the audience can hear the debate itself, the moderator should be pushing for that respect. The debaters shouldn't have to be the ones that are calling out the fallacies. They shouldn't have to be the ones that look weak and, oh, that's a fallacy. Why are you pulling that? You can't win a debate. No, it should be the moderator saying, no. We don't play that shit on this channel. Don't fucking pull that fallacy here. Reality wins. Logic don't bend, guys. It doesn't care about your facts or your feelings. It only cares about facts. JB, thank you very much. Appreciate that feedback. And again, thank you very much for your service, sir. Red Fox, I think this is the first time that I've seen you in the chat. Signing up for the draft is basically virtue signaling for needle dicks. Signing up for the draft is basically virtue signaling. Signing up for the draft, my friend, is mandatory. If you don't sign up for the draft, you don't get the right to vote. So maybe expand on that. Maybe I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Right. The other thing, when you say we're so far removed, I agree with you 100%. It pains my heart to see what is happening to our country. It truly pains my heart. I love this country. I made a conscious decision that I will lay my life down for this country when I joined the military. I love it. And I actually am a constitutionalist in that I have deep respect.
Obviously you're not, because again, if you go back to the Constitution, nowhere on the Constitution says that women should have the right to vote. Nowhere on there does it say men and women are created equal and that women should have the right to vote and do everything that men should do and have the ability to go into women's locker rooms and men go into women. That's not what the Constitution says. So if you're an actual constitutionalist, you wouldn't be behind women voting. I'm sorry, but I'm not. Women should be able to stand on a higher moral ground. As a cog in a wheel, a voter block, they have to conform to the system. They can't stand on that higher ground like they should be able to. Thank you very much for the feedback. Talking about it and whining about signing up for the draft since you will never be drafted is virtue signaling. We don't know that. You don't know that you'll never be drafted. I know I'll probably never be drafted because I'm old as shit. That doesn't mean I didn't go through the worry of being drafted. And if you're a man, you should be worried. If you're not a man, of course you don't have to worry. But I appreciate the feedback, Red Fox. Having a duty to your country is not virtue signaling. JB, I appreciate that feedback. Absolutely. And I completely and 100%, 1000% agree with that. Having a duty to your country and your fellow man is not virtue signaling. If a draft were to come, it were to come. Hopefully it doesn't, but it does every once in a while. That's just it. I'm not that old. Why do you think I'm talking about it? You just proved my point, not your own. Wi-Fi, I volunteered. Appreciate that. Thank you very much for your service, sir. Anybody that served, including her, including Kathy here, that went into finance. I do thank her for her service. But the stolen valor part of saying that she led men is the part that I have an issue with.
Back for what our founding fathers put together. And I'm very grateful to be in this country. I love it. When you were talking, I was thinking about something I heard Charlie Kirk say a long time ago. He said, freedom is tough. He said, freedom requires a lot of work. I had another friend who just said, the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. And so again.
And what does that mean to us, guys? Eternal vigilance. Does that mean eternal softness? Eternally sitting on our couch and doing nothing? Letting whatever goes, goes? Is that what eternal vigilance means? Or is it constantly being uncomfortable to better yourself, to better the country, to better the people around you?
And I said this in the opening. I agree with you. Our country is sick. But I do not believe that the prescription we should prescribe to the sick patient.
Hey, Mark, Dark Meta Official. I think this is the first time I'm seeing you in the chat. Appreciate the engagement. Hope to keep you around. Red Fox. I'm not whining about it. I'm just telling people what is actually going on. I appreciate the feedback and the engagement, but I'm not whining about it. I just understand that it's a possibility and that women should have to either have a equal part in it or not equal ability to do something that they don't have the corresponding responsibility for. That's all I'm saying. Well, welcome in. Appreciate the engagement. Again, I hope to keep you around. Yeah, I'm not sure. Again, I appreciate the engagement. I'm not saying that people that are in the military aren't good for what they're doing. But if you're saying that you were in the military and leading men and then turn around and say that you were in finance, it's not the same. Hey, Aaron Queen. Think this is the first time I'm seeing you? No need to whine about not whining about it. That's fair. That is fair. Appreciate the engagement. Bandit, I had to sign up for the draft, but as an only child, I don't have to worry about the draft due to sole survivor policy. Saving Private Ryan. You should discuss as people are having fewer children. And that's the problem. Is we're not having the people to go into the military or even into the draft if we do end up having to have it. And again, I'm not saying that we're going to have it, but I'm not saying that we're not either. Because as soon as we get rid of the draft, it signals to the rest of the world that we're weak, that we no longer can protect our people if war to come to our shores. At that point in time, who knows what were to happen? So I'm not saying that it's not a good thing. I'm not saying it's not a bad thing either. I'm just saying that the people that are not having to sign up for the draft and whining about wanting to vote, they're the ones who have an issue, not the ones that are having to sign up for the draft to vote. All right, so I'm going to skip forward here. And we'll talk about what she talks about with basically how she is a better person than you for volunteering.
No, all the support roles I think is fine. I just don't want women
different.
So the super chatter says, Kathy, as an officer, what would you tell my family after sending me to unalive while sitting behind a desk? Because again, she's a finance officer, so if she was leading men, then she would have been leading them to their unaliving while she was sitting behind a desk, if that was actually the case.
Perspective, and to begin to.
Yeah.
I'd cover it for sure. Not one step back. Crucible wins again. Cheers. I don't know if Brian's allowed back on my channel, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much, composition. Kathy, as an officer, what would...
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to agree with JB and Kyle here, Red Fox. There's never going to be a not need for infantry. Drones are never going to replace the infantry. If you look at over Ukraine and Russia right now with the drones and the fiber optics, that is a mess. That is a nightmare. Hey, Mrs. D, welcome in. Good to see you. Appreciate the engagement. Everybody, if you don't know, she is the moderator for Jake Rattlesnake, so I always like to give the shout out to the channel whenever she hits the chat. Really appreciate the engagement, Mrs. D. Always good to see you.
What do you tell my family after sending me to die while sitting behind a desk?
Oh my goodness,
Kathy
people.
kind of
What don't you understand? I mean, I served. Jake, did you serve in the U.S. military?
I'm Australian.
Oh.
Cars will never replace horses. Is this a refutation? You think cars has replaced horses? Is that what you're saying? Because cars have not replaced horses, if that's what you're trying to say. I know many shepherds that still ride horseback. I know many hunters that still ride horseback. Even the side-by-side has not replaced horses. So I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Real warfare isn't going to turn into Black Ops 3, buddy. Yeah, Kyle, exactly. I'm not military advice. I'll not take military advice from a keyboard warrior. Yeah, I'm going to have to probably agree with that one on that one, JB. Again, Red Fox, I do appreciate you in the engagement. If you do ever want to set up a debate, if anybody ever wants to set up a debate, I will be setting up debates on my channel. I do also have open panel Thursdays where anyone is welcome to come speak their piece in a calm, cool, and collected manner. These are not debate. These are not heated blood sport debates. These are just discussions to try to move the conversations forward. Anyone is welcome. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, I want you there so that we can talk our differences out. All right, so let's see.
Rachel, did you serve in the U.S. military?
No.
Okay, people, out of the three of us, I put my life on the line for you. So no more.
I honestly do respect that a lot, Kathy. But if it were up to me, we would have 0 women in the military unless they were strictly in support roles.
It was so. I mean,
were you like what was your MOS? What was your MOS?
I was in finance. As a young
And there it is. I was in finance.
Girl growing up on a pig farm in Southern Alabama, dire poverty. It gave me opportunities. It allowed me to be able to claw my way from underneath the rock and to see the world from a different perspective, and to begin to just, I had very little of a foundation growing up. And so I'm very grateful for my time in the military. If it wasn't for, these legislators, I mean, I've never seen a Republican, quite frankly, who didn't see a war they didn't like. So if it wasn't for that, I would greatly encourage young people.
Yeah, I don't know where she says it. I thought it was here. I thought I had tagged it, but she's like, I volunteered. You have to be dragged into it, so I'm better than you. Even though she was volunteering to go into finance. Exactly, Dark Meta. Like, what? Like, really? I like watching Rachel debate. She does a good job. She's getting better and better every day. And again, if you haven't seen Rachel, if you haven't seen Andrew is a good debater, really good debater. He taught her everything that she knows. But the Crucible, check out the Crucible. Check out Rattlesnake TV. All of these are in the description below. And again, if you want to join the Discord, it is in the description below as well. It doesn't look like we have any mods in the chat to drop it. So if you would like to join, it is in the description below. Feel free. Anybody, including you, Red Fox, even you're welcome to join if you'd like. We can talk our differences out anytime. All right.
People to go into the military.
Anyway, so I don't know where it says that, but we won't necessarily continue to torture you guys with her voice. I'll move on to this debate real quick for the last little bit before I move on for the day. But this one here is Destiny. If you don't know who Destiny is, don't check him out either. But this is Natural Law with Ryan Mullally. this gentleman here is an actual attorney in the legal system, knows a little bit about the law, and apparently he was on Rob Knorr's show talking with Rob Knorr. And if you don't know who Rob Knorr is, Normal America with Rob Knorr, check his channel out too. It's in the description below as well. But apparently they were having a conversation, and Destiny just pops in and wants to debate. So I don't know the premise to the conversation, but this is where it starts out. We'll kind of talk about it here. No, you can't call in now. I don't have that capability right now. But if you, like I said, the only capability that I have is on the Discord. So if you'd like to join the Discord and hash it out there, or even have a conversation on stream, one of these times I'll set it up to where we can have it on stream. But I don't have that capability right now. I'm not on StreamYard or anything like that personally. But I thank you for the offer, though. Let's see. Is that the Red Fox? Is that the Red Fox or an imposter? Mrs. D. Apparently, you guys know who he is. All right, so we'll go ahead and start this, and we'll see where I can get to on it. It's obviously, again, 2 hours long. So if you would like to watch the whole debate, please feel free to check it out in the description below, and we'll see what they have to say for themselves. And Dusty is interesting, an interesting feller. Yeah. Coomstini the Gremlin Cooner. yeah, that guy. I don't watch him. I don't like him. I don't watch him any more than I absolutely have to. But I was recommended this one by one of my followers, and they told me that it was pretty funny, and it was. His jaw is going like a mile a minute. It's like almost like synced with the frame rate of the camera.
Sorry. By the name Steven here. Destiny, you would like to talk to Ryan
come
or
on.
me or both? Just let us know. Either way is fine.
My buddy, it's been so long. We used to hang out.
Yeah, okay. I was watching your Destiny doesn't know anything about the law, legal analysis. It was surprisingly, it was very short of any legal analysis. What was going on there?
Yeah, well, you know what, Destiny? It turns out that the law's all vibes, so there just wasn't anything to give analysis to.
Right?
That's kind of what I felt.
Seriously.
Like.
I mean, if it's all
jaw
vibes,
goes mile in a minute.
Here to talk about.
Well, if it's not vibes, then wouldn't the answer to that be to give like legal analysis demonstrating how my opinion is incorrect?
Destiny, your opinion is so transparently incorrect that the entire
the Triple M. Start calling him the Triple M.
Voted against you. What is it that you want me to say that wasn't written down in the unanimous court's verdict? And why do you think it is that a random legal scholar that you read at some point and your own personal opinions would be given any weight in comparison to a unanimous court decision?
So if that's the argument, why am I here? You can just say 9-0 over and over and over again. But you said that you had
All right, Bandit, I'll get it.
I have no idea why you're here. You wanted to be here.
Okay, so
we had a lovely scheduled broadcast. You wanted to pop on.
Is the only point here? Is the only thing you're capable of saying is 9-0 over and over and over again? Is that?
No, Destiny. The point that I would make is that when you have a 9-0 decision, the justices need to come together and find the ground that they are willing to vote on, that everybody agrees on. One of the things that happens when that happens, Destiny, is that the court has different judicial philosophies, so they end up on a lot of 9-0 decisions writing somewhat streamlined opinions because they have to have something that everyone's going to vote on. Just
yeah, right. So, like I said, I'm not real sure what the premise is, but it's basically this point here, somewhere around here, that I'm going to start with. Because, I don't watch Destiny. I don't intend to watch Destiny any more than this. But apparently this is his thing, is he likes to leave the camera and go play on his piano.
problematic that they use that.
I find it annoying.
Yes, that would be one part.
Why is that problematic?
Because that has nothing to do with the original text of the law. It has nothing to do with the original purpose of the law. So why would this be a thing that we would factor in that, oh, this is mighty inconvenient now? My understanding.
Father-son moment. I'm confused, Kyle. Is that a serious comment or is that a joke? Yeah, Red Fox, there's a link in the chat. Join the Discord. Let's talk. I'm curious. So I just want to say that, again, Open Panel Thursdays is for everyone to join, anyone that wants to join. These are for both sides to be able to speak their piece. The biggest thing about my channel is I don't want to be an echo chamber. So whether I make fun of you on stream or not, I do want to hear your opinion. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm making fun of you on stream, because it's just, I'm a potato. I like to joke. That's all it is. That's all it really is.
I guess that's not typically how we read law. That this is, if this is inconvenient to enforce, then we're going to go ahead and toss it.
And which faction on the court is not originalists?
Ryan, are you going to have any responses to my
No.
argument, or
I think this is a pretty easy question, Destiny. You know the answer. I can tell you the answer if you don't. Which faction on the court?
I'm not.
Okay,
I'm
Kyle,
asking
thanks.
you, who claimed over and over again to be a lawyer. Okay, and I only have my carpet cleaning degree. I'm asking you for what is your rationale.
Okay. I'll answer the question because it's very obvious and you don't apparently want to answer it. The left-leaning faction on the court, Destiny, is not originalist. If they wrote an originalist opinion, they wouldn't have gotten the votes of those justices. So
I'm curious what he's looking at there. He's looking up and over to the side. So he's getting ready to leave because he doesn't think he's answering. But is he looking up at AI? Is that what he's looking at right now? Because apparently it's a known thing that he uses AI to do this with. Dang, Red Fox, you're trying to join? It won't let you. Should let you. Not sure why it wouldn't. Yeah, it should be good. Should be a good invite link. You should be all right. Not sure what's going on there, but anyway, so so it's I guess it's a known thing for him to use AI. So is that what he's doing here?
didn't write an originalist opinion because they needed the votes of people who are not originalists and will not sign off on originalist logic. We saw this happen very recently in the tariff case, which you may or may not have read. But on the tariff case, you had a confusing split between the justices because the liberal justices would not sign on.
There it is.
Questions theory. Really? That's what we're
Really? That's what we're doing? He's really actually polite about it. I don't know. Again, I don't know if it was my channel what I would do. This is incredibly disrespectful. This might be funny to your audience. Like, he literally has his name on his background here. Cleaning my carpet. What the Whoa. Okay. Sorry. I just noticed that, guys. But anyway, long story short, I guess his following thinks this is funny. I find it incredibly disrespectful to Ryan, to Rob, to their time, to their takes. Just allow them to speak their piece and take it like a man. I don't know this part here.
we're doing. This is where Destiny asks a question, gets the answer.
I'm back. I'm going to repeat this again.
And then
I don't know why you're having
his music degree.
You're filibustering because you're not confident. You're really not confident. You should be able to dumpster me on this. I'm asking.
It would be a lot better for you to
answer.
do carpet cleaning.
I'll go back.
Go ahead.
So ridiculous. Again, I'll go back. Your opinion doesn't matter, but I jumped up here to debate with you, to argue with you, but your opinion doesn't matter. Like, what is going on?
Feel free, go back.
Can you answer my question?
If I may try to
answer the question.
1 second.
That's astounding to me.
If I may, I'll try to steal on both sides. Ryan is saying, Destiny, you may be correct that originalists don't really interpret the Constitution like that in law, so this would be unusual for them to make that claim. Ryan's saying, but the originalists didn't just use originalism, they used a language that would be sufficient for these other justices, particularly the left wings, that went along with that. Destiny's argument on top of that's like, okay, Ryan, but put into your own words, basically as someone who claims to be originalist, why that should be part of the argument that's being made. They made this argument that would be against their own originalist intent. Is that fair? That's sort of where we're at?
Yeah. So, Destiny, does that make sense to you that it is not an originalist opinion?
You can speak English and I can speak English. I'm asking a very simple question that we don't need an interpreter.
So obviously he doesn't want a moderator. So again, I don't know the premise of this debate. It sounds like he just jumped on to the stream while these two gentlemen were having a discussion and wanted to debate. So Rob, being the nice guy that he is sitting on the side and allowing them to have the hash out. When he sees a thing that he needs to correct, he steps in, and then Steven Destiny, don't know why he put his name as his actual name. I don't even know if that's his actual name, but long story short, why he doesn't just accept the terms because it's Rob's show. Pretty sure this was on Rob's show, not Ryan's. It could have been on Ryan's, but
interpreter for. I'm asking you what is problematic about my assertion that something being difficult to enforce or slightly chaotic is a good reason to get rid of a part of the Constitution. That's a very simple question.
It is a very simple question. The answer that I was giving you had a few parts. I gave you one part. I'm asking if you understood it. Did you understand it?
What did you say that was responsive to my question?
That the reason that they focused on that type of analysis is that it was appealing to the left-leaning justices who would not sign an originalist opinion.
Yeah, JB, exactly. That's just it. Fox, we're not mad. Like JB says, I'm not mad at you, Fox. I just disagree with you most of the time. I'd still like to hear your opinions. I agree with that, JB. I agree with that, Red Fox. So if you can join the Discord, I would like to hear your side. I don't see the draft ever going anywhere personally, but if you honestly, truly believe that it will, and there's good evidence of it, I would really kind of like to hear your side of the story. Let's see. Mrs. K says, I mean, what straight dude uses Destiny as their online name? Really? Yeah, when I first saw him, so when I first got into the debate scene and whatever, and found Andrew and all that, I was going through the whatever catalog and watching all their shows, and I came across the one where Destiny debates Lila Rose and the other female, and I guess he was supposed to have backup or something. Anyway, long story short, I just started it. I was at work, and I just started. I didn't realize it was a man with the name Destiny, and so when there was a male voice, I was like, what the f-? And I had to look, and I was like, who goes by Destiny as a man? Seriously. It's weird. Let's see. Not entirely Tater. Ryan made shots at Destiny's take on different stream. Destiny came on to discuss it. Oh, okay. Okay. Ryan made shots at Destiny. Okay. Thank you for that clarification, Mrs. D. There's so much going on. I can't keep up with it all. I appreciate that feedback. All right. So let's see. Yeah, that's what I thought. It was a shared show. Yeah. But who was the one that he went on to? Like, whose show did he go? I guess it doesn't really matter. Technology, right? Anyway, all right. So let's see. Basically, Destiny made a video about gerrymandering, and Ryan easily refuted him in his own video. And believe this may be from Ryan and Rob's show, Rob and Norder. Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense actually now. I appreciate the engagement, guys. Appreciate the feedback. Destiny is a girl's stripper name. Yeah, dude. That's what I was. I was like, what the hell is going on? All right. So let me see here. I had a timestamp that I wanted to talk about. Now I can't find it, of course.
That's why the patchwork analysis was highlighted. It's part of the drafting process for a 9-0. Does that make sense to you?
Okay, so then wouldn't you just be agreeing with what I said?
No,
that the patchwork analysis doesn't. Is that wait? Doesn't that mean that the patchwork analysis then is not an originalist opinion? And I was correct in calling.
So we'll jump into the debate here a little bit, so we can see how fast his jaw starts moving. Since I wasn't able to get the timestamp that I thought I had here.
Intended to keep third parties off. Federally, the Supreme Court ruled you can't do that. The implication thereof is then any of the two major parties you wouldn't be able to keep off. That would be unduly burdensome. Furthermore, if your theory is correct, that would mean one of two things. You wouldn't complain if a red state right now kept every single Democrat, including at the state level, off a ballot because they just felt like it. And secondly, why didn't any of the justices bring up this argument you're making? The federal court, we have no say whatsoever and who gets on the ballot, and therefore no one made that argument. Why?
Do we have no? Well, Amy said it pretty concisely.
Yeah, Red Fox, if you're still listening, like I said, no pressure or anything. Obviously, again, I don't want this to feel like I'm like, oh yeah, come join my Discord so I can yell at you. Nah, I just want to really understand why people, because like this isn't something this is the first time I'm hearing people say that the draft is no longer a reality. But I don't personally, I don't see how it could not be. As a statistician, I guess I don't want to call myself that, but I think of things tactically, and as a military mind, you wouldn't want to give up the ability to pull in your citizenry if you absolutely needed to. Right on. Yeah, Bandit. I might have to check out more of his stuff. This is the first time I'm hearing about him. Literally, I've never heard about this gentleman before. Where did Destiny come from? Does he have an origin story, or did he just use that? Or did he just use out of a litter box? Yeah, JB. Ooze out of a litter box. I see. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I had never heard of him before I got into the debate scene, and then all of a sudden I hear about him, and he's the biggest streamer on Twitch or whatever, and then Hassan and all that. Like, crazy. Yeah, I'm not sure if he's still around or if he restarted his equipment, Bandit. We'll see if he joins. Hopefully he does. Hopefully we'll get some more pushback on our Thursday night panels, right? So poor Alter isn't the only one that's having to push back. Hey, Brandon. Sorry. I'm a potato, guys. Please remember that. But I think this is the first time I'm seeing you in the stream, so thank you very much for the engagement. Used to be a big StarCraft streamer, switched to politics in like 2016. Nice. Thank you very much for that feedback. Big StarCraft. I think I might have heard about that. That's a game, right? I'm pretty sure. Destiny was a gaming streamer. Thank you very much for that, Kyle. Brandon. Appreciate the engagement, guys. I hope to keep you around. If you haven't liked the stream, please like the stream. Subscribe. Would love the subscription. And any feedback that I can get, I'm always open for it. So if you want to give me some feedback on what I'm doing wrong, what you'd like to see, those kind of things. He's a slimy swamp monster, a swamp creature who crawled out of a sewer like an X-File episode. No, that's that right there, though. Seriously, that's where it's at. That's where it's at right there. Yeah, dark meta. Yeah, that's what I thought for the longest time.
Her writing that they wanted to unify the country with this writing, and that they didn't want to turn the temperature up. They wanted to turn the temperature down. So I think they avoided the more pressing arguments that would have supported a contrary opinion because they wanted to unify all of us.
Yeah, and Destiny, is originalism contentious between the left and the right today?
99% of Americans don't even know what that means.
Okay, but you do. Do you?
What I find funny about this is the fact that he went from playing the piano within the first 5 minutes to sticking through almost 2 hours of just getting railroaded on this discussion. Because again, we're talking about a lawyer talking to a debate bro. I don't think he knows enough to be trying to school this lawyer. Transitions to Twitch, poll, politics, debates, and the rest is history. I see. Thank you very much for the engagement, guys. 34 people watching. Hit the like button, please. Yes, thank you very much for that, JB. I really appreciate that. I know that my mods are super busy this evening, and I do want to shout out those mods. I have an amazing team, even though they're not watching. They are an amazing bunch. Y'all say Twitch with your nose up because no one uses it now, but there was a time when live streaming politics had to be done on Twitch because you couldn't do it on YouTube. And that's just it. Yeah, Bandit. I'm not gonna argue with that one because there's some platforms that have been really not the greatest for us streamers, right? And then there's other platforms that have been better and now they're not as good. He's been destroyed by every streamer. Yeah, and I don't know how he's still around. Anyway, so I'm almost to the end of my stream, so we'll kind of jump forward to where it's just about to the end where he leaves like a little witch, because I'm not going to necessarily call him that, that term there, but he gets, just get these again. If you haven't seen this, please go check it out.
Do you think that the Voting Rights Act was to protect the majority vote of white people in the United States?
No, I'm trying to figure out what your argument is, Destiny. First, you're saying that's not what it says, but what it literally says is that they cannot have less opportunity than other members of the electorate. So they can't have less opportunity. If they have the same opportunity, they don't have less opportunity, which is my point. You're saying, and you openly said that they should have more. They should have unequal powers, and that's not in the text of the Voting Rights Act.
What does opportunity mean?
Less opportunity.
He just has to keep repeating it because he has nothing else really. Man Dude Project. I appreciate the engagement. I think this is the first time I'm seeing you in the chat. Ryan just looks like an idiot in this debate. Interesting. I don't know the gentleman too well, so I don't know much about his debates. I do know Rob Knorr, the one in the bottom here. He is a good debater there, and so I watched it for mainly that purpose. But I appreciate the engagement. Like Kyle says, good troll. Red Fox, welcome back. Apparently, I haven't used Discord since prior to the lockdowns. Again, this was my fault. That's all right. Like I said, no pressure. If you would like to, I would like to see you in the Discord. But again, if you're older than I am, I don't blame you. Technology, even for me, is ridiculous. And I used to be in tech. Anyway, yeah, I've watched this whole video a couple of times. Trying to find places that I wanted to talk about it because I didn't want to cover the whole 2 hours of this Coomer Gremlin. But yeah. Anyway, I'll move on here real quick so we can get on to the next thing here. Man Dude Project is a Destiny simp. Apparently. Sorry, I have an opinion. No, you're all right. It's all right to have an opinion. It really is all right. The people in the chat, they can troll you just as much as you're trolling us, right? But no, seriously though, I don't know this gentleman too well. I don't know Ryan Mullally that well. I just know that this debate was interesting. A lot of it, I'm not going to lie, a lot of it I didn't know the terms of and things like that. But gerrymandering is an interesting issue currently. And so it is a concern, right? Bandit, your opinion is shit. Well, again, I want to make sure that people are feeling welcome to come to the Thursday panels and stuff so we can actually talk about our differences and understand each other. Again, we're not going to get anywhere if we stop talking. Like Charlie Kirk used to say, when we stop talking, divorces happen. When we stop talking, war happens. So we need to get away from that if we can. Okay, then say that you believe my opinion is shit instead of just crying troll. Like I said, man, dude, I don't mind your opinion, and this is my channel, so they can cry all they want. But if you want to stick around, you're welcome to it until you start spurging out, and then I have to kick you. But I appreciate everybody's opinion personally, because again, if you can't speak your opinion, you go to an echo chamber and you speak your opinion with everybody else that's willing to listen to your opinion, and then it doesn't actually do us any good. So we need to start moving the conversations forward. I just saw a video. China made what they call a sky yacht, a hybrid electric plane drone with vertical takeoff. Looks like a spaceship. That's interesting, dark meta. I just watched a video saying that they created Skynet and called it Skynet, like it's all proud of it and shit. Like, oh my goodness, you guys are wild. How about you elaborate why you think Ryan looked like an idiot? Yeah, I kind of have to agree with that one, Ryan. I'm curious why they think that. I'm not dressing you, Mr. Dream. Oh, okay, fair enough, man, dude. I will leave you to it. I apologize. I used to be a fan of Destiny, but Destiny revealed himself to be a complete psycho. That's fair, Brandon. I appreciate the feedback. Like I said, I don't know him too well, so I'm not real sure on what his takes are, all of them. But I know that he's debated with Andrew and things like that. So, but yeah, again, we appreciate any views that we can get.
Opportunity than other members of the electorate to elect representatives of their choice.
Correct. So if you have 85% white people in a state and 15% black people in a state, who is that going to protect more?
It depends, Destiny, on the partisan makeup of the state, because nobody has the right.
I'm going to leave if you can't answer this question. If you have 85%
it
white people,
depends on the partisan
Rob,
makeup of the state.
why do we care?
do you think that the white districts are going to be gerrymandered out? Who does this protect in general?
Yeah,
Let me-
dark meta.
let me
Yeah.
Explain the point. If the 85% and the 15% were split 50-50 between the parties, and the state nonetheless gerrymandered it so that the black people got no district, that would be a violation of the VRA even after Calais.
But it wouldn't be, though, right?
No, it would be post.
It literally wouldn't, because they would still have the members that they wanted elected would still be elected.
Yes,
that was the whole point. Even if they're somehow gerrymandered out, the members that they want to elect would
Go
still be
back to my
elected.
example. Go back to my example. I said if the 85 and the 15 were equally split between the political parties, right? And then the state nonetheless gerrymandered it so that black people didn't get a district, that would be a violation of the VRA even post Calais.
Gotcha.
What
Can I
happens
ask, if the racial groups were split 50-50 in how they would vote, why would we even have a Voting Rights Act?
Well, Destiny, it turns out that there were big ramifications for making partisan gerrymandering legal. And you might disagree with that, but I think earlier you said that you agreed with it, that you thought it was the right outcome.
Wait. I'll agree with Destiny. There's an easy answer to this question. Even if all of the Democrats or even if all the blacks were going to vote for one party or the other, or in the other world, they were even 50-50, the Voting Rights Act still said you can't put a poll tax. You can't have some sort of test that's intentionally to keep blacks from voting. And the argument, well, it doesn't matter. They would have canceled each other's votes out because half would vote Republican and half Democrat, is not to the point whatsoever. So the Voting Rights Act had nothing to do with the outcome of who gets elected more, the Democrats or the Republicans. By the way, it would be the racist Democrats that they were actually fighting against, but I digress.
The people all in the South states right now that their ancestors were all Democrats, right? The Republicans of today whose ancestors were Democrats, right?
Welcome in, Dave. Appreciate the engagement. Know that you've been busy, so I thank you very much for that. So yeah, pretty standard centrist lib across the board, only deviating to defend Rittenhouse or no trans women in women's sports. Interesting, Brandon. Ryan looked like an idiot when he pretended to know about all of the specific cases they discussed. Also, he refuses to address the main issue they started on. I don't know, just frustrating to watch. Oh, fair enough, man, dude. I'm not sure. Like I said, I didn't know the back history of this debate. I've just seen Destiny and other debates, and he's interesting is all I can say. I'm trying to be nice here, guys. But again, I like Rob. He does a really good job of debating, really good job in his show. Again, I'm not start checking more of Ryan out. I don't know much about legal jargon. I'm a potato. So. But yeah, we'll watch the rest of this and then we'll head out. But again, I want to give that shout out to Leia. Leia Bobea has her own channel. She's going to be doing a debate on fetus elitists, Schmortians, this evening on Speakeasy's channel. If you are part of Speakeasy's, obviously, by all means, give him the love. But if you would be willing, Leia Bobea is going to be streaming it. Give her the love, and then go over to Speakeasy and give him the love as well. Of course. Anything else? Yeah. So that's about all I have for that.
They realized their mistake of being Democrat.
Right. Exactly.
That's right. It's always been the Democrats that are racially focused. Yes.
Of course. So Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act would never exist if the votes were along 50-50 party lines.
Destiny.
Rob just answered this. Rob just answered that.
Let me.
I'm talking
do you
specifically
think
about Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act.
Right. Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which says that you can't have a qualification or prerequisite to voting or standard practice or procedure based on race, basically, right? And you're telling me that if Democrats voted 50% Republican and 50% Democrats, that we would have looked at that law when it was being passed and said, it's perfectly fine to do whatever you want to keep black people from voting because, if they voted, it would be equal Republican. Of course not. We would still have a law.
Fair.
No, it just wouldn't be a thing to talk about. Why would anybody want to try to disenfranchise voters if they're likely to vote either way? The whole point was
they're racist?
Power.
Because they were racist.
You think in the past, You're laughing and you're making the dumbest point possible, that people would have given up political power for racist gerrymandering?
Of course,
the same
Leia.
people that
Of
brought
course.
the 3/5 compromise would have said,
No.
well, we know that these blacks are going to vote for us, but let's go ahead and gerrymander them out anyway, because fuck it, so that we lose. Do you understand how stupid that is? There would be no purpose for the Voting Rights Act to exist.
I miss Dave too.
Racially partisan lines anyway, which is
Where
what
you
Alito
been?
has
I'm just kidding.
completely brought us back to. Do you agree? I'm just curious. You agree that there will never be a Section 2 case that like a federal court can realistically hear now, right?
No, there could be some. It depends on.
And let me ask you.
Give me an example of one.
Poll
Because
taxes.
now, no. Well, besides that's obviously out of the case. I mean, for gerrymanders.
Literacy tests.
For gerrymanders.
Okay. So for gerrymanders, to bring a case now, what you need to show is that they could have achieved their partisan purpose, and that there is an alternative map that did not take race into an account that would have done it without disenfranchising, quote unquote, members of that group.
Which totally defeats the entire challenge.
No, it just makes it harder.
No, it doesn't make it harder. You have to demonstrate that any map that you would propose achieves the same partisan ends that their map would propose.
Because the partisan ends are legal.
But the whole reason why they're gerrymandering is for partisan ends.
Okay, but earlier you said that you agreed that partisan gerrymandering should
Why
be
are you
legal.
changing this earlier? I'm telling you that right now you
Because
can
you said it
gerrymander
earlier, Destiny.
races
You
out of
said-
existence. You can gerrymander the races by claiming it's partisan, but the only reason why you gerrymander is for partisan purposes. That was the whole point.
Listen, you've moved
No,
on
they-
quickly. If I can't, you've moved on quickly from a point I think that's absolutely absurd. The claim that the VRA would have been unnecessary if Democrats split 50-50 or if blacks split 50-50 in how they vote. So let me ask you specifically then, if that's true and no one would have ever pushed for that, let's say hypothetically tomorrow, blacks 90% become Trump supporters and Republican supporters. If there all of a sudden was rules placed.
Well, thanks, Miss K. I don't blame you there. I'm just about to sign off before too much longer. So if you want to dip out and go to a different stream, so it's not like just going to some random stream after mine, wish I could raid. I don't like the fact that I have to have 1,000 people to raid 2 people. That's so wild to me. But yeah, I appreciate the engagement, Mrs. K. And again, if anybody, don't you have your own channel, Mrs. K? But yeah, thank you very much for the engagement, Mrs. K. As always, good to see you.
To disenfranchise black voters, would you speak up for them and say that that's absurd and that's illegal?
Well, I mean, right now, as per Alito's ruling, you'd be allowed to strip them of their voting abilities by gerrymandering their thing on a partisan boundary.
It's not the question.
Red Fox, my Discord is a little more confusing than a lot of them are. You have to be a certain level to be able to see everything in my Discord. But if you go to the Welcome New Sprouts channel, you can see the history and discuss with people until you hit the level you need to be. Man Dude Project, raid Mr. Beast. If you want to go to Mr. Beast, you're welcome to. But like I said, I can't raid. I can't actually set up the raid. It's stupid. I have to do what it's known as a ghetto raid and just drop the links in the chat. So I'll try to drop that link. But yeah, I can't raid personally. It'd be an interesting raid to raid over to Mr. Beast, get that shout out, but I don't have the pay capability.
I asked the question if you specifically would say that that's something, if they just flat out say blacks are no longer allowed to vote, that's good for you now because they're going to vote for Republicans. So would you say perfectly fine by me? I'm fine with
They
blacks
just
not
ban
being able
black
to.
people from voting?
Correct. Or let's
I
say
don't
they
know.
do it through literacy and poll tax, literacy test and poll tax. Would you be okay with that?
Probably not. No.
Therefore, you disprove your entire argument. Yes,
I'm sure Mr. Beast will be disappointed that I don't send 18 people. The 26 people, like, I don't know. I think I have 26 people watching, which is actually pretty impressive for me. I'm not going to lie. I thank you guys. Thank you. But I don't think Mr. Beast is going to be disappointed. I'll drop the link. And if people want to go over there and say, hey, we came from Tater Nation or the Potato sent us, cool. I'd appreciate it for sure. But I highly doubt Mr. Beast is going to see a little 26 people coming and say, yeah, awesome. Thank you, Tater. Like, I'm not going to hold my breath there. He lives an hour and a half from you. Wow. That's crazy. Nobody cares. Oh, that's funny. A gay liberal made you laugh. Everything makes me laugh. I'm not sure if you're referring to me or what, but Listen, yeah, looking forward to the debate. Yeah, Miss Kay, I'm looking forward to the debate too. Anyway, I'll shut up now.
Would have been a 50-50 split. There still would have been people that said you can't specifically keep black people from voting. You disprove your entire argument by showing you would be one of those people.
What?
You said that if blacks voted 50-50, no one would have ever suggested a
crazy.
law to prevent poll taxes or to prevent literacy tests or other things to keep them from voting.
You said if the blacks voted 90% conservatives.
Correct. And you said, even in that world, you, who is clearly not a conservative and dislikes them, would have said, yes, it's still wrong to disenfranchise them. That's exactly my point. There are people that would have said you can't disenfranchise black people, even if they're voting 50-50, because it's still unhuman, it's still against their rights, etc. As you're doing right
Fair
now.
enough, man, dude.
How you would gerrymander them on racial boundaries if they voted 50-50. This is why the Section 2 argument doesn't work here, and I think Kagan pointed it out well in her dissent that the Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act basically defeats itself if the races are all voting relatively separately, because you would never be able to make a contiguous district of minority voters whose vote was being suppressed by.
Hey, Derek, appreciate the engagement. I think this is the first time I'm seeing you in the chat, so thank you very much for the engagement. Hope to keep you around. He runs. Not sure what you're referring to. Appreciate the engagement.
Voters.
Because you're conflating that the Voting Rights Act was specifically or primarily about gerrymandering, which was never the case. That's why when you're looking at it through the lens of gerrymandering and you're talking about a 50-50 split, you're like, the Voting Rights Act would have never been necessary. Yes, it would have, because the primary purpose was Jim Crow laws of poll taxes, literacy tests, etc.
Section 2 was the big part of the Voting Rights Act that Alito basically destroyed. So that's basically is what people have been talking about. Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. Of course he did. It's fun.
He did not
Thanks,
destroy
Leia.
the part which the primary focus with things like poll taxes, literacy tests, etc. The reason the intent of it was never gerrymandering, that was never the intent. So when you say they would have never passed Section 2 of the VRA had it been that blacks voted half Republican, half Democrat, that's just nonsensical. They would have still posed it because
I'm just curious then. If right now a state were to pass a law on Trump's family,
a jog going a mile a minute.
99% of white people could pass, but 1% of black people pass. Would you guys
gets me all jittery even trying to do it?
No.
Why not? Wait. Why not? If it's explicitly, there's nothing racial
Thanks,
about
Dave.
the test. No.
Well, the question is, there's some sort of test, like a literacy test or an educational test.
Sure, make it a literacy test. Yeah.
And 99%. Well, I'm against sort of those sorts of qualifications.
That's
anyways,
not what I'm
on
asking.
your right to vote.
I'm saying, as per our reading here now of the Voting Rights Act, right?
That would have nothing to do with it.
Because you would have, if let's say you had we could just use the examples from history. If you put in a literacy test that basically prevented black people from voting, then by the plain language of the VRA, black people now have less opportunity to vote than white people.
What if the literacy test there?
I've never actually caught that. The way he darts his eyes back and forth right there. So Ryan's just about to call it out. But the way he darts his eyes back and forth, you can tell that he's gathering information and trying to piece it together on what is going to be best to come back to this
There wasn't
with.
any racial thing about it. That was just the effect.
I am describing historic examples where there was not.
You can't rely on historic examples because that's what Alito didn't want to rely on. I agree with what you're saying because what you're quoting now is the part that he got rid of, which was the totality of circumstances. But I'm saying if there's no racial language, it's just a biography about Trump's family. And it just so happens to disenfranchise 99% of black voters and 1% of white voters, like the new gerrymanders are now going to be allowed to do.
Yes.
Why would you be against the literacy poll test or whatever? But
Now that I finally freaking paid attention, Kyle's probably not even in the chat anymore, are you, Kyle? Of course. Just shout out $5 from Kyle. Thank you very much, sir. I very much appreciate the dono. Cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. And just making sure that there's no others to shout out. Doesn't look like it. Again, thank you very much, Kyle.
you'd be in favor of the racial gerrymanders.
In that case, black people would be given less opportunity to vote than white people.
Isn't that happening right now in the racial in the way that gerrymanders happening across the United States?
It's not. They have the exact same opportunity to vote and have their vote counted.
But not if they don't. But that it wasn't about having their vote counted. It was about having members of their class of
Yes.
citizens being able to.
But the example you gave was a literacy test, which is about having your vote counted, which is why I was talking about having your vote counted and why that would be a problem under the VRA, because it wouldn't have anything to do with the gerrymandering jurisprudence.
Why is it that the totality of circumstances language was adopted from, I believe, from Bolden and then added to?
Who's helping you now?
What?
There it is. There it is. Who's helping you now? He said.
What do you
Is
mean,
that Kafka or Pisco?
I don't even know if either one of them are awake. I read the whole decision on stream.
Okay.
I'm guessing
So
you didn't?
Go ahead.
Hold on. Look at me right now. What are the changes that Alito suggested to the Gingles framework?
He's all trying to rest his arm on his
I have not
feet.
memorized them. I'm happy to we can
You
read
have,
them
then
together
how
if
are you
you'd
even
like to.
answering the question
Oh,
whether or not a
Destiny.
Section 2 case could be?
I'm making fun of you
don't
for,
even know
looking,
the
for
case.
looking off screen and getting it from your chat. I'm making a joke, Destiny.
This
Make
is
your
one
point.
of the most cited cases in the decision. You have no idea because you haven't even read it. I don't even know how you were answering my earlier questions if you didn't even know what any of this even was. How are you answering whether or not a Section 2 case could even be brought before if the whole point of Section 2 cases was they relied on the Gingles framework and now that framework has been completely destroyed? Kagan says we should call it the Calais upturning or whatever instead of the new
Because
Gingles
the way
framework.
that because
You
the
can't explain it. Why
the
are you explaining it to me now when you just said you don't even know
Yeah,
what
yeah,
the framework is?
I didn't say that.
Oh, there you are, Kyle. Thank you very much, Kyle.
That you
Appreciate you,
wanna
buddy.
yell About because there he goes.
There he goes. Yeah.
He got tired.
He got tired.
Yeah.
Rob's. He left. So yeah, again, like I said, a lot of the legal jargon I'm not really familiar with. I understand what gerrymandering is to a certain extent. I don't know much more about it other than the fact that whenever they gerrymander, it seems to be a bad thing. Not real sure why Destiny thought that he could jump in there and be a big bad Coomer Gremlin. I don't know. Red Fox, I appreciate the effort. Any dono I can get is much appreciated, but I don't expect anything. Just a like and a share is all I would really appreciate, and that's all that really matters to me. Man Dude thought that this part was a win for Destiny. It's like meandering but with Jerry. Yeah, right? It's like meandering, but with Jerry. Thank you guys. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate the engagement. It's been a busy couple weeks for people that watch me, so I wasn't too sure if I'd be getting any kind of a viewership at all. And I had a decent amount of viewership today. For those who donated, subscribed, you're the real ones. The ones that always watch me, you're the real ones as well. Dave Pissant was clearly helping Destiny because he's a lawyer and he got butthurt because he got caught. Exactly. Well, that's just it. Exactly right there. You could tell he got all butthurt. Oh, can you actually accuse me of cheating? And then dips out right afterwards. Yeah, all right. All right, dude. So yeah, again, I appreciate you guys. The new ones that have been in the chat, please stick around. Like I said, I don't want to be an echo chamber. Even if you disagree with me, watch what I have to say. And if you don't like what I have to say, then go ahead and unsubscribe and forget I ever existed. But join a panel on Thursday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in my Discord. Come discuss your grievances with me. If I'm wrong, tell me, and I'll see what holds up to the heat, right? But as for right now, I'll let you guys get on with your evening. I know that Hardwire is live currently, so let me get his live in the chat so that you guys can go there if you'd like to. Maybe. I'm not going to boomer it up here. All right, so there's Hardwire's live. And is there anybody else that's live that would want to hit up for a raid? I don't think there's anybody else. I'll look up Mr. Beast. I'm a man of my word, guys. It doesn't look like he's live. Huh. Bummer. Not sure how you'd raid to somebody who's not live. I'll have to look into that. Not sure if there's even a possibility. Anyway, I'll shut up now. I know. You guys came to listen to me ramble and be obnoxious, but there's only so much obnoxiousness I can be, I guess, or something like that, right? Dark matter. I'm losing it. I'm losing it, man. I'm losing my sanity. Are you kidding me? If you're new here, join the Discord. We have fun and everyone is chill despite strong differences. Exactly. Thank you very much for that feedback, Voshmit. He's part of the Discord. He's also part of Ibble, right? So if anybody's in the chat that enjoys Ibble, I do have some Ibble crew in my Discord. I'm trying to build as much of the Ibble crew as I can because you guys are awesome too. Everybody's awesome. Everybody's awesome. Everybody's cool when they work as a team or something like that, right? Don't copy strike me. All right. With that being said, I'll go ahead and sign off. You guys have yourself a good night, right? You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. And of course, I appreciate that more than I can ever say. For those inside of the United States, always remember your Second Amendment rights. Those rights are yours and will always be if we can hold on to them. And your response time will always be faster than that of the police. So we need to hold on to it. Those outside of the United States, do the best that you can to stay safe. Your lives are important, just like everybody else's. As for right now, you know me, the potato, getting his music ready and signing off. Have a good one, guys. Christ is God, King of kings and always will be. Can't forget that. Godspeed, everybody.
Crawling under my skin, every thought I bury just comes alive again. The mirror's cracked, but it's showing me clear I'm not the same one who started here. I can't tell if I'm breaking or just being remade. All the light I had's been stripped away. I'm becoming feels like fate's mistake. I'm becoming the echo of a voice I don't control. Fighting through the feedback to remember my own soul. Caught between the circuits and the ghost I used to know. I'm not your hero, just becoming the echo. Can you hear me through the noise, through the static of your choice? Every scream's a frequency, trying to rewrite me. taking back my soul.